the fire sale prices in real estate in Venezuela are officially over. Today we discuss.
Welcome to Venezuela Insider, the only place in Venezuela for expats, digital nomads, entrepreneurs, investors, travelers, and related internationals. For more information, venezuelainsider.com.
So many people contact me and seek through my platform and my services, that kind of stuff, and also they look a little bit further about Venezuela regarding the real estate prices. It's no secret that since we had an 80% GDP collapse until 2018, those were attractive times in order to get attractive prices regarding real estate in Venezuela. However, since in 2019, we see a huge recovery on the Venezuelan real estate market, halted a little bit during COVID, and then after 2021 and 2022, keep growing on the good locations and the good markets. However, many people think that those fire sale prices that we had in the past decade, 2017, 2018, then you can saw properties, nice properties, maybe on $10,000, $20,000. Those are still the prices, and that's not the case. Most likely, those prices are either from a terrible property or very outdated prices that you just Google it and you find those particular properties. So many people abroad, especially from the West, are incurring and looking deeper on the Venezuelan real estate market, and they think those are the prices, and that's not the case at all. Now, you can still buy properties here in Venezuela for $10,000, $20,000, but those are going to be either terrible properties or they are in terrible markets. There are a handful of attractive real estate markets here in the country, but those properties are not cheap at all, at least compared to the perception of what is cheap or what is expensive here in the country. So we're talking about properties that were at the moment were on $20,000 and right now could be on $50,000, $60,000, of course, on good locations, or also could be that those properties that you thought were cheap actually were lesser properties but in good markets, so it was worth to take a shot on such properties. Something that happens with international investors is that most of them, not all, but most of them don't know the Venezuelan market or Venezuelan economics as well. For them, Venezuela is just a shithole country on South America with a dreadful crisis, and they don't take into account the true value of Venezuela. Venezuela, of course, we had a horrendous economic crisis, and we're still, we are growing, but still way far from where the Venezuelan market should be. Anyways, but still a beautiful country. We have almost 30 million people here living in the country, and some of them have a very good purchasing power. And those people, actually, first, they know the market way better than the international investor. And second, they also value things within each market that the international investor doesn't value as well. For instance, a property of someone that was born and raised in Caracas basically knows every area of Caracas, which are the good areas and the bad areas, and living within a good area in Caracas is something very aspirational for an individual in Venezuela, and that's something that most, not all, but most international investors won't understand in the first place, and won't place that particular value on each particular property. Now, having said that, the question is too late in order to invest in the Venezuelan real estate market? And the straight answer is no. What happened is the times of fire sale prices are completely over. Trust me on that regard. However, the Venezuelan market still has a long way to grow thanks to three key economic aspects. The number one is, if we talk about Venezuelan economics, we have to talk about the oil industry. Venezuela averaged during many decades around 3 million barrels of crude oil production per day. And right now we are close to 800,000 barrels of crude oil per day. We're still a long way to go in order to reach those 3 million barrels, but on the next few years, we can reach 1 million, 1.5 million, and even 2 million barrels of crude oil per day. That still lackluster compared to the 3 million barrels of crude oil per day that we had just on recent years. However, still way higher compared to with the 400,000 barrels of crude oil that the Venezuelan economy was producing just before COVID. So the Venezuelan economy is very correlated with the oil economy. So if the oil production or oil prices rises worldwide, I'm talking worldwide, what will end up happening is that oil revenue is gonna increase, it's gonna trickle down to the Venezuelan economy, and believe me, oil revenue, it does trickle down. That trickle down does work in Venezuela, trust me on that. And then, of course, the real estate, especially on the well-located properties, is gonna increase as well. Number two is the size of the economy, aka the GDP. Venezuela, of course, I mentioned this a bunch of times, and I already mentioned it like a couple times on the video. Venezuela suffered an 80% GDP collapse. But still, the Venezuelan economy has been recovering, has grown around 25% of GDP, depending on who you ask, could be more actually, depending on each particular institution. From that bottom of the market, we're still a long way to go. The Venezuelan economy had a size of over 300 billion US dollars just on the early 2010s, and right now is lackluster low from 100 billion US dollars. Just is less than a third. But the Venezuelan economy can recover very quickly on the next 5 to 10 years and reach at least 200 billion US dollars. In a very idealistic scenario, the Venezuelan GDP could be 300 million and 400 billion US dollars on the next 10 years. Of course, that's very idealistic, but realistically could be over 200 billion very easily on the next decade. That will mean, of course, the trickle-down economics with the oil revenue, but also the non-oil economy is growing as well. I'm talking commerce, industry, services, tourism, you name it. That also it has been increasing as well on the past 4 or 5 years. And of course, that also will trickle down to the prices on the Venezuelan real estate markets, especially the good ones. And number 3, we have to talk about the mortgage market. One of the reasons that when you had the ceiling on the Venezuelan real estate market, it was because we had a bunch of mortgages and credits in order to purchase real estate properties, especially residential real estate properties. However, the mortgage market in Venezuela right now on the past decade has been pretty much non-existent. However, the Venezuelan purchasing power for real estate is actually greater than most people thought on the first place. According to an estimation, there are private savings of Venezuelans, a particular number, around 200 billion US dollars. That is more than double that Venezuelan GDP. And you can saw that was money on the sidelines waiting in order to, have a little bit of certainty on the Venezuelan market, Venezuelan economy overall. And that certainty has come for some investors and is coming right now for another investors. So you see a bunch of properties, I'm talking very expensive properties, 100,000, 200,000, 500,000, 1 million, 2 million properties being sold right now on the Venezuelan real estate market. Of course, the good Venezuelan real estate markets, the most attractive ones. And if this particular mortgage market makes a comeback, and by the way, the credit market overall is making a comeback recently, just since the past couple of years. And if the mortgage market most likely will be on that particular trend, also that will further increase the prices on the good markets of the Venezuelan real estate market. And now I want to read your thoughts on the Venezuelan real estate market. It's cheap, it's too expensive, it's fairly priced. I cannot wait to read your comments below.
Thank you for watching Venezuela Insider. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on social media. If you want to work with us, VenezuelaInsider.com. Thanks again and have a nice day.